Alright, everybody, welcome back to Season 3 of Bloodbath League. Now, we have our qualifiers matches, so getting ready for the round of 32. We have Infernal and Cathedral trying to fight it out for their place in the round of 32. And this is not a usual nurse map that I've seen, but actually, funnily enough, just as I say that, our ace is going to get spotted right away and take this first chase. But yeah, honestly, this map, I would have assumed is really good for the nurse because of the like really openness, but Ace is doing a beautiful job of just uh using bounce landing and also using the Vox to try and get as much coverage as possible, which is what you'd usually got on the Macmillan maps, which is why I feel like Dead Sand is a bit more of an interesting pick. But it's gone down on the edge map of somewhere around this place because I haven't figured out callouts yet, and it's gonna be a fairly early first hook, I think, and our nurse should be fairly, I think, happy with this. Yeah, it's fairly mid. Look at this. It's fairly near Shack. And it's in reach of this generator, actually. Claudette's going to be forced off this, and luckily, I guess they don't have Sprint Burst. They would have to burn it there, but it's going to be a fast pull and a pop as well to put on the gen, so I honestly think it's still, like, potential outs on this map against the Nurse, because inherently some of the physics can be weird, and, like, there can also be, like, some weird rubber banding with the rocks, but at the moment, it's looking pretty good for our nurse, got that first hook, first pop as well. And also going to get the second down, but this is the Dead Hard Survivor, and that was a beautiful Dead Hard to extend the chase just away from the generators. And that's actually another missed blink from our nurse, so Ace can make it all the way to the edge map. So they might actually pop the generator for this. Steve is diligently on the gen, of course, but yeah, look at this. Ace just wasting a good amount of time here. This is like 10 seconds just off some edge map 4 lane, and Arnett is not even happy about it. Just finally gets the down here, but that is plenty of time to be working the gens as the second hook comes through. You also have, again, the BL. Look at that. Oh my god, the gen is at 90% here, the others at 50%, which is a Delhi Survivor. And yeah, that's got to be potentially 2 gens done, but our nurse does interrupt, I believe, that generator with the pop goes the Weasel just in time. So we will be seeing another gen, though, go towards 100%, but it's actually the FTP coming in to play. Beautiful rotation from our Survivor. That was the one who was on the generator the entire time. Now it's taking the aggro away from his. Actually wants to take the down potentially, but apparently not. As our nurse goes for the swing and a miss. That's a huge miss because that was 2 blinks gone. Ace can make it further into the map again, away from the generators, allowing more progress to get put on. But I feel like now, like, we might see 2 gens pop, maybe even another gen pop for this, and Ace does go down. The Dead Heart unfortunately doesn't go through. Nice prediction for our nurse, but that's one of the 2 popping, and maybe our nurse can make it back to the other one, but no, it's already gone. Just like that, as our ace dies, that is going to be 3 gens completed for our survivors, which I feel like was a little bit, a bit too little. I feel like you would be expecting to get an additional generator done on this map, but potentially I feel like maybe that early pull of the first hook, and maybe even the second early pull with the FTP could have been a little bit detrimental for gens. So this is going to be a Delhi for the next chase as our nurse takes this. Look at this, the Vox actually again kind of getting our nurse very annoyed here, but okay, it's just going to be able to make good distance away from this and head towards the mid map. But again, the Vox kind of forcing a second blink from our nurse, and that's going to be an overcome as well towards this, I should call it like top side, right? Or I don't know, I still can't tell. I'm still horrible at knowing the comms on this map, but okay, it does not go down. Oh my god. And that is just going to be another more free edge map distance for them. Heading a little bit into the map though, so yeah, they are going to go back edge. I was going to say it's not really ideal, but it's a good amount of time ball for the generators, just I guess the map geometry is just frustrating for our nurse, but I don't know if the pop's actually going to be able to land in time on one of the gens, but I think it might, seeing that the gen hasn't popped already. One of them kind of has to peel because they're injured, and look at that, 70%, a bit of Thana value coming into the trial as the Delhi actually comes in the background. Suddenly 3 survivors back on stage, back in the trial, but yeah, I guess our nurse has unfortunately picked the wrong generator, finding the survivor who is not injured, so that might be another like fairly long chase, and it seems like it's going to be enough time for Steve's generator to pop as well, as Nurse does finally lock onto our Claudette's position. Our Claudette again has fairly decent exhaustion perk, also has the Jiggy D's, wins the pallet as well, so just makes even more distance, and I guess that's gonna be looking at potential outs. Yeah, Nurse is going back to the generator to try and make sure it doesn't pop, that the injured didn't rotate to the generator prematurely. And yeah, look at this, they're scared of the generator and they do find blood, so our survivors were here. Probably gonna be Kate, honestly, but I can't really tell at this point. Um, so yeah, I guess now survivors can just play it slow, and knowing that our nurse has to defend this highly progressed generator, they can afford to go reset the Steve in the background. Okay, the K in the background, I guess. K actually has a medkit, so she can actually reset herself. So even though this down does apply the eruption and maybe even a pop on another generator, survivors have kind of like managed to get that additional gen and a half like kind of done for free, I would say, since that death, and that was really, really well done from our survivor side of Cathedral. So I'm not really sure what they're gonna plan to do now, because they can play this like infinitely slow with this ridiculous generator split that our nurse has. Well, ridiculously bad for our nurse anyway. But I would say I'd like to see them play it slow, but the corner is gonna get found. Why are you there? I guess maybe they're free running, but that's just gonna be a fast down, and potential hook of our nurse wants to take it, but no, they were looking to slug to stop that generator again. But I don't really know if that's the play. You're risking potential unbreakable as well. So I guess the unbreakable is on the deliverance, so it's not really a big deal. But at the same time, it's just given our survivors to reset again, and our Claudette can just like crawl away for pretty much nothing now, since this gen is very threatening. The nurse can't leave this area lest it pops. So realistically, that Claude can be picked up for free and the edge map tile. So yeah, that's just exactly what happened, if I'm saying it. And our nurse really needs to find the stealthy here, because they can't. That is just going to be so much pressure gone for our nurse. The reset ult as well coming through in the background. That probably would have been Medkit Kate getting the reset. So our Steve just doing a beautiful job, I would believe, just defending their position here on the generator. They are going to be found, but a beautiful sprint burst and window fake is going to result in a swing and a miss, as our nurse probably wants to commit this, as they know the other gens can't be that high. But I think our other survivors should be doubling the generator, and really if our nurse here does get a little bit overconfident, it might pop in the backline. That's another swing and a miss. Slightly short blink there, and our nurse again worried about the generator setup in the background, worried that the double might be potentially coming through. Just leaves, tries to find the healthies here, but does manage to catch our Claudette, but that's not enough distance, and our Claudette can get distance for free. Steve's gen is 50%. Kate's gen is also going to be abandoned for thieves or something. Alright, but it's still really, really good amount of pressure coming on for our survivor side, and even though our Claudette goes down, it's going to be really, really tough, I'd say, for our nurse to navigate, simply because of the split pressure. But that's actually, was that 2 eruption auras on the generator? I think it was just Steve, but they did get good aura there, but they didn't get enough, because they still need to know where the last survivor is. And that survivor is of course our Kate with Overcome, whom again is really, really threatening in this case. If the stealth isn't found, which it is not, then they can just continue this loop of picking up the survivor and then resetting them until the generator kick runs out on this and eruption is gone. But that's going to be, I think I thought I saw someone run in the background. I guess not. It was just my imagination. But that's again going to be like the spikes coming up. I believe that was the 5th kick or 6th kick of the generator. Probably the 5th, as Nurse goes around, tries to look for the Steve, but again, the Steve doing a beautiful job with the spin burst, playing really, really patient, or wherever they are, to make it difficult for our Nurse. And our Nurse, again, kind of opting to lead, but then fakes it, trying to bait a rotation, but it's not going to be successful. Steve is still completely gone, and into a locker maybe, or into thin air. But our Nurse again kind of lost everything from all these interactions, simply because that generator was way too high. They couldn't really risk abandoning it, I think, just in case it double popped or something. But Claudette's gonna pop the light. Unfortunate. That was a 1 blink charge, so I think there should be another 2 tap coming in for Claude, and that's gonna be, I think, double eruption. Was that? I didn't hear that. I think that's just 1 eruption on that far gen over there at 11. But they do find Steve though. But we do know Steve is our spin burst, so they aren't in too much danger behind those rocks. But Cade going. Wait, no, what's that's not Cade. What? That's a Steve. I just thought that Arcade was there, but that's going to be the final gen popping anyway. So yeah, it's still definitely 4K territory, but the rocks again providing a lot of good time wastage for our Steve. I think our nurse again was just not ready for the geometry of the rocks, and we might actually just be seeing Kate get out of the door here. Potential pickup coming through, and that's indeed the case because our Claudette I think is a fresh hook. So if they do get out the door, that is if they both get out the door, that's just 7 stages, and that's a very impressive result from what I thought was 4K territory. But the stage's gonna be on the second hook here, and actually wait, there's 6 stages. Yeah, that's insane. But the door's open now, and I think our Claudette and Kate's gonna leave, securing 6 stages for Killer, which wow, that's just incredible performance from our Survivor side. So we'll be right back with the second half of this Nurse Best of 1 as we go to a short intermission. Alright everyone, welcome back to the second half of this Nurse Best of 1, where we see Catedral now taking the Survivor side of Infernal's 7-stage performance. I will stand corrected there because I believe the deliverance on Cade was used, so I kind of forgot about the extra stage there. But yeah, 7 stages I think was still a very, very strong performance on the Nurse as we do head towards this this new set with Infernal. I don't know. I guess they're starting out this trial trying to find anyone, but we do have a bit of a different build come through from them, so I'll take a bit of a gander of that. But seems like that already one of the totems are gone. That's Undying being popped in this Ruin Undying Eruption build, with of course Corrupt, but definitely a bit more of a like a Tunnel Out heavy build. Like if you can't find your first Survivor, then you can't get a lot of Ruin value because you can't get a 3v1. But I guess a Survivor doesn't even need to go for a 3v1. That was a beautiful set of blinks there from Infernal to secure this first down, and that's actually really far into the map, so it could have given a potential basement here, but our Nurse isn't going for it, and instead just looks near a generator. I'm very confused about this, but anyway, apart from the hook loco that our Nurse just took, that was a beautiful start, and even though they lost Undying for that, they still have the protected Ruin Totem. Well, it was protected, now it's not, and Eruption in the back pocket. But I feel like again, if they can't secure this 3v1, we might be looking at like even less than 7 stages coming from our Survivors. But of course, that is to come as our Nurse does look towards his bot side. Does see some. I think there's a crow actually. I think they saw the crow or scratch marks. I wasn't entirely sure, but that double blink is going to miss. They didn't have enough distance there. Renato is going to get the pull for free. And, well, not for free, for a tag, but not for a trade, which is the more important thing, as our Nurse does try and get this tunnel out onto our Rebecca, but we don't know exactly what exhaustions our Rebecca has. It could be DHDS, it could be anything. Looks like a BL is going to be played here on this 9 hill. I have actually figured out comms for this map. I think that fountain's on Charlotte 9, but BL is going to allow them to get back all the way to this 11 side and just make death spot yet again. And I think we might just see 2 gens pop in the background, but Rebecca, what? Okay, interesting bit of parting there, but I think that's a little bit greedy, but what? Blood Rush! There's a Blood Rush Sprint Burst coming in and then getting the extra distance all the way to 7. They don't go down. That's the first gen popping as well. And the walls are closing in on Infernal here, because I feel like we're really not that far away from seeing another generator pop in the background, but Rebecca does go down, luckily for Killer, and might be able to interrupt it, but that's the second gen done in the background, so that is yeah, not, I think slightly behind pace from the previous trial, and it could definitely still go to Catedral Survivors, because oof, they have a good amount of gen pressure, and this time out isn't infinite. It doesn't take infinite time, or it does take infinite time because of the Blood Rush, and that is going to be a huge deal. But yeah, the Ace is going to go down. Kind of losing my train of thought there, but Ace is going to go down. That's a huge boon for our Killer, because that is like, that's massive. You get a free hook on definitely someone who isn't Deli, so they can't unhook themselves. You know, there's someone else in the distance getting the unhook, and that's also forcing the other survivor off the generator, because that's going to get more boon value. But Renato's actually going to get found here and take an M1 for this potential trade. I think, yeah, it has come through, but suddenly our Killer is racking up a lot of hooks. They might not actually just have to go for this intended tunnel out onto Rebecca and just head towards just a healthy hook stage performance. And it seems like so. Like Rebecca heals up in the distance, and I feel like that was a wise decision from our killer to abandon the Rebecca, seeing the Blood Rush come into play. But does pick up the trail of Ace here, kind of running the uh, in the open. Not entirely sure why, but trying to rotate to the death spot, and that's going to be a beautiful, beautiful blink there to secure the down onto the Ace. It's a Deli, of course, a predictable one. Comes in the background, but what's a quarter here? Okay. Hello, that's a free tag coming in for our killer, and really, like at this point, it's funny that I say this, but if our killer just kills our Threshold Claudette here, secures them on the hook, that's actually the win coming through because that would be 7 hooks, 4 fresh, and that's just sufficient. So yeah, that's another very smart pickup and transfer of target from our nurse as they secure this 5th hook of the trial. Ace gets picked up as well, but nurse is a bit far away from that to capitalize too much. But yeah, still very, very, like I'd say very, very close because our survivors have like a good amount of strong perks at their disposal. Of course, Rebecca doesn't have Blood Rush anymore, but they still have like DH, they still have DS, they still have like Life, they still have all these strong perks. Unbreakable as well, but Renato is probably not going to ever be able to use it because that is going to be the 6th hook for Infernal. Actually, wait. For Catedral, wait. Oh, okay, yeah. My mind blanked. Yeah, a 6th hook for Catedral, and now it's suddenly looking impossible for survivors because that Deli pickup there, that just pretty much forces the win con on the survivors at the moment because oh my god, beautiful dead hard as I'm saying. The win con is pretty much forced here, but yeah, if they allow one more survivor to be hooked here, which seems impossible at the moment, it should just be the win for Cathedral off the threshold. So unless just recognizing this, I'm gonna go for the ace, get the kill onto them, no DS in play, and that. Oh, that's not the kill onto them. Oh, okay, my bad. I just thought they went down before, but nevertheless, that is going to be the win for no, not for Cathedral. Wow, I'm blanking right now. But yeah, Cathedral is going to take this and claim their spot in the round of 32. So beautiful stuff as our survivors still play on, of course. But yeah, really, really nice job. They've met the win condition, just had 2 gens left. And even though it's still like potentially looking like a 4K, if it doesn't end up in that manner, 4K, it's still going to be a high stage result, which I think is a little bit more of an appropriate performance on this. But yeah. Bernardo's going to get found here. I believe he's Death Hook, but the Vox are going to again provide enough geometry to prevent the immediate down from coming through. But running in the open, that's just death. So nurses, this down comes come through. That's going to be the 8th hook of the trial and the first death as well. And we still haven't seen a generator pop since the Rebecca was switched. Oh, well, was unhooked and then nurse started switching targets. We have not seen one generator pop, and I'm really, really curious as to why. Maybe it's ruin. Maybe it's just really good application of pressure fire. Nurse, and that was a beautiful little turnaround for our nurse to secure that. And yeah, secure the 9th hook as that is a gen popping in the background. Speak of the devil, but yeah, it's pretty much high stage at the minimum for Cathedral, so it's still very, very nicely done for the kill. So I should kind of pay attention to the V-Gen. It's worse than the previous trial, but that's... Oh my god, our survivor snuck in and got the generator done. That was our injured ace, and I think our killer had a bit of a brain fart like I did a couple of times previously. Trying to kick the gen maybe, but anyway, final generator done as Rebecca is going to be in the distance, probably working the gate, and Ace taking their final chase. But beautiful double back timing for Ace. It's going to allow them to get more distance, and that's another beautiful dead hard to secure just a bit more time. Maybe Rebecca can come in from that gate. Maybe they have enough time with the spin burst to rotate and get the pull. But Ace, again, is doing a beautiful job. You know, the distance is closing in. The Rebecca might be able to get the unhook in the distance. They might risk it for the extra stage out of the door, but seems like Claudette is going to just die on the hook, and that is going to secure 11 stages, which is again a very solid result. I think I did see like 4Ks on this previously, but I feel like, oh man, just the size of this map and the rocks, yeah, definitely pose an issue for unnursed players. But yeah, that's 11 stages, and Cathedral is going to be going through around a 32. So as Rebecca does do a little bit of post-match, maybe celebration at the gates, uh, that's just going to be it, and we will be seeing Cathedral go through. And unfortunate for Infernal, but that was a beautiful performance from Cathedral. So yeah, I think that just wraps it up for tonight's sets, and a little bit of wholesomeness is be coming through. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, and we'll see you in the next set of or round of 32. So, yep, see ya.